Hello,
Hi.
who is volunteering? Hi, okay, Mary, thank you.
Yeah, okay, so I remember this one because I got fixed. Okay, so the metacognition. Okay, so it's something that involves about thinking one's own thinking process. Like,
Yeah, thinking about
basically it's like the awareness and control of cognitive processes, like how someone thinks.
how you think. So it's not just about thinking, it's about understanding the way you think. So it's a higher level that demands extra work. So there's difference between, oh, I'm thinking about this and I'm actively thinking about something. And in the process, you are identifying the skills, you are identifying the things that involved your thinking process, that you engage in your thinking process. So it's not just about thinking, it's about ensuring that learners make meaning out of their own thinking process. So you are challenging them to go beyond, okay, 1 plus 1 is 1, or two, if we had two and three together, we have five. So instead of saying, just giving them 2 plus 3 will give us five, challenge their thinking. So does that mean that if we remove two from three, we'll get this? Does that mean that if we remove two from five, this is what we get? Are you sure? Then they want to sit back and think again and process it again. Oh, is it? Then they want to put things into place. That's when you see them picking their pen. So even if they were not interested initially, by challenging them that, oh, okay, does that mean that several times I'll be in class and I'll ask my learners thing that I taught them initially, and it's, of course, it's true. Like, oh, okay, let's say for instance, um a noun is the name of any person, animal, place, or things. And I can go to the class and tell them, are you sure a goat is a noun? And they're like, oh, yes, a goat is a, yes, a goat is a noun. And I say, ha, are people sure? Is that your final answer? And they're like, a goat. Then you see some of them getting confused, some of them trying to be like, I know this thing, this knowledge is established, so I'm not going to be moved or something. And after allowing them to think twice, and you decide and you give them the answer that, oh, you're actually correct, a ghost is a noun. Yeah, hey, I said it, I know. So that way, they're not just sitting back. You are challenging them to reason beyond even what you have given to them, to check to validate what you are giving to them, the information that they have received. You're helping them to validate that, oh, I really know this thing. I think this is what it really is, and not the other one. So it helps, yes, it helps them to reflect. It helps them to actually take time to reason. So with active learning, students play an important part in their own learning process. They are not just there for the sake of, um, my teacher is in the class, so I have to just listen and hope. They are the ones deriving meaning from whatever you present to them. You are there to facilitate the learning process, and they are trying to build up meaning from the resources, the information you present to them. So are we still together? If you're still together, please put a yes in the chat box. If at any point in time you don't understand what I'm saying, you can always call me back. Always call me back. So I've not seen any chat. If you're still together, yes. Okay, thank you, Mary. All right, Sola, thank you. Kenny, yes. All right. Mm, okay, so we can move on now. So we have the big picture, and what is the big picture? Um, how do we come about active learning? That is exactly what the big picture is talking about. How do we come about active learning? It's based on a theory called constructivism. And it's just a long word. It's not too difficult to understand. It comes from the word construct, and we all are familiar with the construct. It means you're trying to build up something, trying to make something, you're trying to mold something, you're trying to, engage in activity to bring about a particular result. So when you hear the word construct, what comes to your mind? What comes to your mind? Let's put it in the chat box. Construct, what comes to your mind? Creativity, to build. Yeah. So thank you. We're going to use all those words in the course of the training. Constructivism emphasizes the fact that learners construct or build their own understanding. They construct or build their own understanding. Please, education has gone beyond just standing at the front of the class and shouting and telling them, hey, this is a noun, this is what a pronoun is. 2 plus 2 is 4, 3 plus 3 is 6. No, things have changed and we have to move with it. So at every point in time, we must also believe and see our learners as learners that want to do. An average learner in this age and century is restless. They just want to be involved. They want to do things. And so the theory of constructivism emphasizes that they are ready and they can build their own understanding. So they're not just limited to what we are giving to them. They are ready to actually achieve whatever result on their own. Constructivists argue that learning is a process of making meaning. They want to derive meaning from what they are doing. Why am I even doing this thing? Why should I? Have you been in a class and the learner is asking you, excuse me, sir, why do we need to know this thing? Or why do we need to just do this? Yes, they want to know. They are curious. They are inquisitive. They want to know why they should do things. So it's in the process of understanding the why that they are able to do whatever that they need to do. So I need to understand, and it's high time that teachers also, we try to link our learning, our teaching to life experience, to life matters, so that learners see that whatever meaning they are deriving from whatever resources that you are presenting to them, it's applicable to life. Because whether you like it or not, there will be a time that a child will ask you, why do I need to learn chemistry? Why do I need to really even learn English language? Why do I need to learn mathematics? Why? And what do we tell them? So if you're able to engage them, if you're able to help them to discover meaning from whatever resources or information you are presenting to them, then they will also understand the reason behind that activity. So we are not just going to the classroom to give them information when we can't validate the reason for that knowledge. And that takes us to our next slide. The benefit of active learning. It helps students to become lifelong learners, as they are not limited to the classroom. The same thing that happens in the classroom, wherever it happens, when it happens in any other setting or environment apart from the classroom, they're able to derive meaning. They're able to, reproduce the same thing that they have reproduced earlier on. Majority of our learners are facing different challenges when it comes to recalling and trying to remember what they've learned in the classroom. Why? Because we have made the classroom look like it's what you're learning does not go beyond here. This is where you need it, and you only need it during the examination period. No, there are so many things that we put into teaching and learning process. And the high time we make good use of those resources and those activities and the time and the information, the better for the learner, the better for us. So when we present learning in such a way that learners see that beyond the classroom, I need this thing. Beyond where I am, beyond the school, I need this knowledge. They're able to engage with that particular learning for the rest of their life. And they're able to even use it in every other difficult situations. So active learning encourages students to become lifelong learners. It encourages success because when we look at, by the time we get to that aspect, we look at some of the things that how we can facilitate active learning in the classroom. We'll see that there will always be excitement in the heart of your learners because they know there is a result. Have you been in a class that you are giving your learners a particular activity and they are here to get the result, but they don't want to leave the work? They don't want to leave it because they're just excited. How many of us have been in that scenario or that situation before? Can you put it in the chat, but just give a reaction? You are giving out a task, a particular task, and they are not yet through with the task. You have to leave the class, and they're like, no, I want to finish this thing. This class must not end now. I want to get the result. I want to achieve the result. How many of us have experienced that before? You can put it in the chat box, yes, or just give a reaction. Good, Mary, yeah, that's it. Because they want to get to the end of the matter. No, we won't leave this class until there's something, there's a reason behind that. They've seen something, there is an excitement. You have created what's it called in their heart. You've created an excitement in their heart. You've motivated them to want to learn and to want to achieve the result. So it's success driven. Active learning is success driven. It encourages learner to long for success, and it is also engaging and intellectually exciting. Active learning is engaging and intellectually exciting. From this picture of in the slide, you can imagine the scenario where learners they're just doing their thing themselves, and you're just there supervising what they're doing because they are engaged. They love what they are doing. It's not that a teacher is coming to the class and is writing notes, copying notes for 30 minutes on the board, vroo, vroo, vra, 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 vroo, vroo, and they're just writing. They're just copying the notes. They're just copying the notes. I understand that, especially for we in Nigeria, for those of us in Nigeria, I understand that learners need to write notes, but please make your notes concise as much as possible, especially for primary school learners. Please, at the end of the day, it's not about what they are able to write down. You may say, oh, what they write down during the exam, it will help them. But see, at this point, what they need is short bullet point, not notes, not copying notes unnecessarily, please. And even for the learners at the college level, give them a little information, few information, allow them to make meaning out of it, and ask them questions. You will be surprised how far they will go in giving you answers to those things, if only we know how to facilitate such process. So it's engaging and it is intellectually exciting. Even for you as a teacher, it makes teaching easy. It makes teaching easy and fun. It makes teaching easy and fun. So let's go to the next slide. And here we'll be looking at some strategies that we can engage, some activities to facilitate active learning, how it works. The most important thing is to put the students and the learning at the center of your planning. The most important thing is to put the students and the learning at the center of your planning. So you are going to the class is not just about you, it's first about the learners and the content you want to present to them. Now it has to do with you understanding your learners. So when we're saying you are putting the student at the center of the lesson, we're saying there must have been a relationship. And even if you're a new teacher in a school, you're just going there for the first time or something, you can start a relationship immediately. And that has to do with how ready you are and how prepared you are and how creative you are. Let's go to next step. Now, what are the strategies to achieving an active learning classroom or The first thing first is have a clear objective. Now, I've learned in the course of my teaching, I've learned that one of the ways to actually get your learners engaged in learning is tell them, let them be part of your of the lesson by involving them. And when I say involve them, let them know what they want to learn. I know we have our objectives in the lesson plan, but please, for those of us that we are teaching in an international school or in a school where they use digital tools, they have the electric board, they have a projector, whatever, always display your objectives. Always display your objective. Let it be what comes first so that your learners know what they are looking at. Everybody is on the same page. They are not confused as to what we want to learn. They're not just seeing the topic and they're like, oh, whatever we learn is whatever we learn. No, let them know from the beginning. At the end of the lesson, at the end of this lesson, I usually personalize it for my learners. I put it on the board at the end of the lesson. I should be able to explain the meaning of verb. 1, I should be able to identify verbs in sentences or in given text. 2, and number 3, I should be able to use at least 3 verbs in a short story. Or I should be able to use 3 verbs in 3 sentences or create 3 sentences with verbs. Are we still together? Please put it in the chat box. I want to hear yes. Are we still together? All right. Okay, yes. So at the end of this lesson, I should be able, so you're putting yourself in the shoes of the learners now, that if by the time I enter into the classroom, I just put the topic there, well, the learners know that we are learning verb today. But what are the things? What are the expectations? So from the beginning of the class, they already know what the expectations are. So they are not confused. Nobody is confused in the course of the lesson. Apart from the clear objective, so at the end of the lesson or in the course during the process of learning, you know what you're looking for. Your learners know what you're looking for. So if at the end or while you're accessing them, one of the learners realizes that, oh, I don't think I've been able to. I can explain what verb is, but this second objective, I don't think I've been able to achieve that. I don't think I can identify in a sentence or in a text. So you know where to help the learner, and the learner knows where he or she needs help. So for the third one, oh, I think I can do this. So you know how many people have been able to achieve a particular objective and where you need to give appropriate assistance. And the second one, another strategy that can help to make good use of active learning in the classroom is group work. My dear colleagues, if you want to enjoy teaching, please use group work. It works like magic if you're able to manage it well. Group work is the same thing as teamwork, and it's a soft skill that it's even important for everybody, especially the younger ones these days in the workplace. If you want to work anywhere now, the hard skill, what are the skills you have, and one of the skills you must possess is teamwork, ability to work in a team. So if you are able to use group work, one of the benefits of group work is it helps your learners to know where they are. They know of their capacity, they know what the strength is and what their weakness is. Because let's say you have a group of 4 learners, you can have gender-based group, you can have all boys, you can have all girls, 4 girls, 4 boys, something like that. And you can have a mix of the gender, or you can have a mix of, according to their strengths, you can have the talented one, those ones that are always the hey students, about 3 of them in a group, and then the 1 weak one. Just put them together using your own initiative to mix them together, depending on the content and the resources that you have at hand. So using this group work, you will help them. Everybody will have a role. Everybody will have something that he or she will do. So as they are contributing, if they need to remember whatever they have done, by the reason of their involvement in that lesson, it helps them to quickly remember how they were able to achieve results. And even if they fail, they remember that, oh, when I was that day that our teacher was in the class that we looked at this topic, I was in Timilayan's group, and Timilayan said this. I also mentioned this. The other person also mentioned this. That way, you are encouraging them to work together. You are encouraging healthy relationship in your class. You are encouraging everyone to tolerate one another. You are encouraging everyone to communicate well. So you are building their different skills at the same time. And apart from that, you are also helping them to engage in peer work. Then you can assign, there is a place of assigning leader to the group. You are building leadership skills too that way. And before you know it, everybody work together and they achieve tangible results. And nobody is claiming, oh, I'm the one, the result is mine or something. They are working together collectively, collaboratively, or cooperatively. So please, going forward, let's utilize group work the more in our class. There's a place of personalized learning also, where you encourage them to, process information personally and then take it to a group. That's what we call think, pair, share. You think on your own, and you pair with a partner. You have a partner, maybe your seat partner or something. You pair with a partner. You look at what you've done or what your partner have done, and you share notes. You try to contribute to one another's write up or whatever, and then you bring it to the larger group. Then you can have presentation. You can have a volunteer in the group to present. That way you are building your learners' presentation skills. So many things, so many benefits from using group work in the classroom. That way you are just facilitating the learning process. You're sitting down and you're seeing what they're doing. Once in a while, if you need to contribute, if you need to balance answers, to balance bring a balance to an argument or discussion, then you contribute. You are just there for that purpose. You are not there to dominate the class. You are there to facilitate learning. You are there to motivate them to learn, to motivate them to derive meaning from the resources that you are making available for them. How many of us have used group work before in the class? Please, can you signify or put it in the chat box? I've used group work maybe once, or I use it often. Okay. So what are the let's look at the challenges of using group work. What are the challenges? Who wants to volunteer to talk? Challenges of using group work.
Yeah.
It could go rowdy, okay, Sunny. It could go rowdy. Okay. You can unmute yourself and talk if you don't mind, if anybody wants to, or you want to cite an example of the time you've used it and it didn't go well. Okay, having to understand each other, carry each other.
And I
Okay, yes, you can.
okay, yeah. So can I share because of course I'm from a different kind of like different setting because I'm here in the Philippines and I want to know how it works for you there. But here, really. most of the time, I find it really quite challenging because I'm handling large group of students. Like I do have 50 to 60 students. By the way, I'm teaching in a public setting, so
Okay.
I'm really handling large group of students. Most of the and that most of the students are actually like struggling learners.
Okay.
So these kind of like this group work, although it's fun and it's really engaging, but uh, the problem is there are a lot of students who don't really want to participate. And when the group works, when there's a group work, they would tend to just, like I don't know, but they would like to make the class more chaotic than to participate. And so I'm really having a problem with it, especially when there's observation, you know.
Okay. Okay. So how have you been managing that?
Um, differentiated activities, but I have to admit that there's also some part of like I have to say something to the student, for example, if it's really uncontrollable. Like I would say, I will get back to you later, right? We will we will see each other later. Like, I'm so sorry. Like, really, I'm just at that point. 'Cause this this is just the case when things are really so uncontrollable. But yeah, it works though. Sorry, I can't. Are you saying something I can't quite hear you.
Okay. So what's the age range of those learners?
Okay, so my students, they're like 13 to
13. Okay.
16. Yeah, 13 to
Okay.
16 years old, or 17, like that.
Okay. Okay. I can imagine. All right. So do you do rewards or gifts or awards once in a while?
Yeah, yeah, but although it's not like often. I don't
Okay.
often give like rewards. But I do that. But actually, this just happens with because I do have some learners that who cannot really even we call it struggling learners. They are having difficulties, frustration level, they cannot even read simple sentences. So that's so challenging for me. Like aside from like I'm teaching science, but at the same time, I have to teach them how to read. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So they have reading challenges also. Is that it?
Yeah. So yeah,
Oh,
that's one of my
that
problems. Yeah.
I can imagine that would demand a lot of collaborative work with you and other teachers, especially the language teachers, because you they have a lot of work to do first. And then you can, because if they're not doing theirs, you can't achieve a lot from one thing. So that's it. But well done. So don't be discouraged with time, with the use of reward, and then identify those learners that always prove difficult, and let there be a relationship, and make sure that you you create like an interest in them before the class. Once those ones that prove to be difficult are able to concentrate and just put in their best, you will see others also following suit. So I think that's the major thing you need to actually put in place to be able to get the best out of that, and then assign roles to each person, and you can also rotate the roles once in a while. Is make sure that the person that is taking this role now does not take it the next time, things like that. So with time, you can get the best from them. Though teenagers and adolescents are usually difficult to handle at that time or that period, but at least to some extent you can achieve, and then going forward, whatever you can do at that time, at least it will enhance your their performances, and it will enhance your own teaching also in the classroom. All right, thank you for sharing, Mary. Is there another person that wants to share? Who else wants to share, so that we don't just look at what works? Let's look at the likely challenges we may face and how we can solve the problem. Hello. Hello. All right, so are we saying that there are no challenges?
Wait, I'm sorry.
All right, Mary.
Yeah, can I just ask something? It's
Yeah.
like I'm just so curious about your system, like how it works. Uh, do you also promote? Do you have this thing like mass promotion for students? I'm referring particularly to
Public schools. Yes, yes, but they have I think they have minimum scores or minimum grades you can have, but that minimum is also very ridiculous. Let's say something like 40 or something, 40 over 100. So is that what you're saying, Mary? Hello, Mary. Hello. Now, creativity, since we don't have any other person, I didn't really, yeah, Mary. Mary, did I answer your question? Okay. Please, can you still hear me? Let me hear someone, or put it in the chat box. I can't hear Mary. I don't know what's wrong. I want to be sure that everybody can hear me. Please, can you all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, thank you. Okay, so let's go to the third thing that we have here, creativity. I put creativity because this is actually a personal skill that we need to bring to the classroom. I've had instances that maybe I'd planned a particular lesson for, I'd planned everything I would use or I would do in the class, learners would do in the class. I'll get to the class and I look at the mood. Have you been to a class before? You look at the mood of the learners, you look at the environment, you look at the weather, and you're like, no, there's nothing gonna happen here. How many of us have been in that situation before? You just enter the classroom and you're like, this is gone. If you have experienced anything like that, can you just put it in the chat box or react? Let me see your emoji.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Is that Mary?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm actually using data, so somebody called and so the connection was interrupted.
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
I'm using data.
Data?
I don't have a Wi-Fi right now. Yeah, I'm using
Yes,
data.
yes, we're using data. Yes.
So somebody called and so the
Okay.
connection.
Oh, okay. Okay, I understand. No problem. All right. So I was saying that that there's something like that too here. That it's just that we have a ridiculous what's it called, quota. I think it's 40, at least 40. So every other person that has below 40, I don't think they that's a pass. 39 downwards is not a pass mark. I think it's 40, and we have a lot of them that. And I think it's even at it's senior secondary level, not the junior secondary level, that they do that. Oh, sorry everyone for the digression. I just think I should answer a question. She was not here when I answered the question earlier on. So okay, so let's go ahead. I was asking a question that, have you been to a class before? You planned what we're going to do for the class, you planned what the learners are going to do, you planned the resources and everything, and just you enter the class and you realize that this setting, this weather, those learners, the moods, the everything here cannot work. Have you been in that situation before? How many of us have been in that situation before? Please, can you react to that? Can you react to that? Okay, Kenny, okay. Okay, Oluwatosin. Okay, so what do you do? Let's hear from you. At that instance, what do you do? Oh, who is volunteering to say something? Oluwatosin, unmute yourself and talk. Are you there? Okay. Okay, so who is coming first?
Hello? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead. We can hear you. Who is talking? Kenny or Sonny? Who is talking? Okay, Tosin. Okay. Who is talking? Kenny.
Hello? Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, I think at that particular moment, since
Yeah.
I'm taking the senior secondary school from SS1, SS2, and SS3, and the moment I discover their mood and the environment, this is what I do. One, I will engage some of them, like I'll talk about sport activities, maybe Man City versus Chelsea. So they will all engage, and
That's good.
as well, I'll tell them a bit of a story, storytelling.
That's
But
a good word.
what is
Yeah. Continue, we can hear you.
that I even now
Sorry, you're dragging. You're dragging. I can't hear you.
just to bring them.
Okay, that's a good one, Kenny. Another person who
Hello?
else wants to say something? Yes. Hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
Okay, good afternoon, Sonny.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. In such a situation, there was a time I entered a class. They were actually very talented students, carefully selected to be trained. So when I entered the class, they must have gone through the textbooks and answers all the questions. So they were feeling too much of themselves, so they could not, cooperate. But suddenly, the way I handled it was that I just, and that calls to the need for mastery of subject. Then I immediately brought something that is far outside the book, but is relative to what we are supposed to do. So when I did that, they were like questioning themselves. This one will turn to this one, this one will turn to this one. They don't know the answer. So gradually they came back to themselves. And then I now started from there. And then I got their attention. And then I proceeded with what I planned earlier. Thank you very much.
Okay, that's a good one. Sonny, I need a female, a lady now. Where are the ladies? Adegoke, Odewale, Tola, Mary, who is talking for us? Okay, someone said he or she is in the rowdy environment. Something. Okay, let me share my own experience. There was a time I was supposed to teach a class immediately after break time, and the weather was very hot. It was a sunny day, and into the class, the learners they were still eating. Actually, the break time was over. They were still eating. Personally, I was drained. Let me just use that word, and I was just so concerned. Like, I entered the class, like, what will I do here? And fortunately, it was supposed to be a double period. So I had over and half to like and half 30 minutes to stay there. Wow. I entered the class and I was like, oh, I don't think I can achieve anything here today. I just looked at their head and something just dropped into my mind. I was going to teach them adverb that day. So I told them, everybody pack your lunch pack, clear your tables and get ready for what we have today. I only put the topic on the board and I told them, put your hand on your partner's shoulder. We packed the chairs together. We stacked the chairs together at the center, and we were playing around the chairs. Let's walk faster now. I would tell them when it's time to walk faster. I'll tell them when it's time to walk lower the pace, and before you know it, their mood started brightening up, and I was able to change, like to some extent, change the atmosphere. So they were excited. We were shouting. You would think we were the only ones in the school. And after doing that activity for like 5 minutes, I introduced another one. And at the end of that period, we were able to gain like what they were able to learn. They wouldn't have learned it if I've just decided I would go with the former lesson plan that I'd made. Flexibility and creativity. We can't negotiate it when it comes to doing things the right way or teaching at this time and at this season. As teachers, I know there are some teachers that they will say, whether you like it or not, I'm still going to stay with what I have. Everybody sit down, everybody. That's when they start to shout and like forcing everybody to learn. At that period, nothing can happen. Nothing can happen. So active learning demands that you bring in your creativity and your flexibility skills. You don't try to force your learners into learning. You let them enjoy the learning process. That is the demand. So as teachers, please, let's start to process whatever it will cost us, whatever we'll need to ensure that this is achieved. And part of using creativity is storytelling. Yes, Oyebimpe, not many teachers observe their environment to consider it fit for teaching and learning. Yes, many just upload the content to the learners and assume it's fine. That's it. That's very, very true. That's very, very true. That's the way so many people go about it. They just think, I'm here to just put down to tell you whatever I have in my book. So that is it. That is not the way it is. That is not the way it is. This is the season of going the extra mile, taking those extra oils. They are necessary. And what are those extra oils? All the skills. Because by the time you go to another school, you want to go to teach in another school, you want the best, you want to attract the best. You must be able to convince your supervisor, your head of department that you know what you're actually doing. So it's not just about sticking to your scheme of work, about sticking to your lesson content and saying this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. It's not about you, it's about your learners. After all, they are here to learn. It's because they are here that you can be here. So please, let's take note of those things and let's try to change our mindset and our perspective about what we do. So we have to be observant, observe your environment, observe your learner's mood, observe your the weather, observe everything, the resources, everything around you. Creativity also demands that if you need to quickly, there are times that I would want to go to the class. I wouldn't plan that I would use a flashcard before. I just think, I just feel like, I think it would be good if I use a flashcard. The fact that we have drafted the lesson plan at the beginning of the term does not mean, oh, it is what I put there that I must go with. At every point in time, we can always check up and see that if you see something new on the internet, you see something new in another person's class where you think, oh, I can also put this into my classroom. I can also embrace this when I want to teach. Fine. We can always adjust. That is why it is yours. We can always adjust. So I'll quickly get flashcard. I'll quickly get something like a badge I will put on my learners' chest. I will put on their uniform, like, okay, so you this is your tag, this is your tag. And at the end of the day, we have a fun-filled lesson. And learners, they enjoy the class, they're able to give you results, what you're looking for. So that is the way it works. So there are times you may need to engage learners in storytelling, that if they don't remember any other thing, once they remember that story, they know what you have taught them. Let me set an example. I was teaching my learners, I was teaching a possessive pronoun. And I was like, this word possessive, the prep 3 learners are like, not so many of them would have been familiar with that word. So I need to break it down such that they can easily, when they remember the word possessive, they know what possessive pronoun is. So I quickly look for a story, like a story. I just put up a story about a mother, a single mother that struggles to keep up with the children, to provide for the children and all that. And then the children love bicycle, but the mother could not afford the bicycle. And so she struggled to work and get one bicycle. And I told them, I said, one day the children were so excited about the bicycle, they would ride together, play with it and all. But all of a sudden, one day, the last child, the girl, told the brother that the brother should not come to the bicycle again, that the bicycle is for her alone. The mother bought the bicycle for her, it's for her, and she's not going to share the bicycle with anybody. It's my own, blah, blah, blah. And the mother was shouting, Jane, don't be too possessive. The bicycle is not yours. Something, something. And I was able to wrap it up. And at the end of the lesson, at the end of the story, I asked them, what do you think the mother was trying to say when she said, Jane, don't be possessive, don't be too possessive? And one after the other, they were thinking, that is it. See, they may not know the answer. You don't even want them to totally know the answer. But the fact that you trigger something in them to want to know the answer, that is where it starts from. And they started thinking, okay, could it mean this? I ensured that I allowed all of them to, I think the majority of them, to give answers, to say, okay, this is what I think, this is what I think, this is what I think. And at the end of the day, I was able to give a balance of what the meaning of being possessive as used in the story meant. And bringing it to the classroom now, to our topic for the day, possessive pronoun. A pronoun that says something belongs to someone, that tells you that this thing belongs to someone. Just trying to, bring out meaning through a process. So we might need to really, really be creative and be flexible. So there's nothing like, oh, I'm just a teacher, I'm not a story writer. How many of us have seen that challenge? I'm just a teacher. You're not just a teacher. Excuse you. You are everything. You are everything. You're a creative being. So we must begin to take up that challenge going forward. We must begin to take up that challenge going forward. So we can use storytelling. We can use activity. You can use songs. You can use videos. There are times I will go to the class and decide, see, today we're just going to watch videos on YouTube about this particular topic. And from the video, I'll tell them before we start the video, you have to pick out 3 things that you are learning, maybe 3 types of verb from that video. So you're trying to attach something with their learning. Don't just let them learn abstractly. Attach something to their learning. Let there be a process. Let there be something they can always refer to. That day, it could be demonstration. It could be role playing. So things like that will help to facilitate learning, and that has to do with our creativity. Please, going forward, let's be mindful and be conscious of those things. Now we're going to the next one, which is sequencing. I know we've learned sequencing for those of us that are graduates of education. Briefly, we learned something about sequencing. However, we can always learn and learn again. Sequencing is breaking your a whole knowledge into bits and pieces, into levels, into different hierarchy. Please, it's not compulsory that that take us to understanding our learners. We know the age range of our learners. We know what they want. We know how they learn. So sequencing will help you to know that this time, this is what I need to present to those learners. You have just 40 minutes. You can't expect that in that 40 minutes, you give the learners the meaning, you give them type, you give them advantage, you give them disadvantage, you give them the uses within 40 minutes. And if you want to do that, you are doing that writing notes on the board. We have scheme of work, I know. Scheme of work is man-made. Let me put it that way. It's man-made. We can always tweak, we can always adjust, we can always use our initiative when it comes to delivering content to our learners. What should come first? What should come after? I was going to teach a particular lesson and I saw what's this part of speech now? Prepositional phrase. I saw prepositional phrase. These are learners that they have not even been able to, get themselves established on the meaning of preposition, and you want me to teach them prepositional phrase. I changed the scheme of work. And then preposition was now later, I think maybe second term or towards the end of the term or something. I took the preposition to the beginning and I took the prepositional phrase immediately after that preposition, because if you take it far again, they might have forgotten. It's okay, it's fine when you merge similar content together. So if I'm teaching them preposition this time, I can also as well bring preposition phrase. That will even help to strengthen their understanding of what preposition is. So we need to know when to bring this to the front and when to take this back. It's not compulsory that we stay rigid to what we have been given. At the end of the day, you are the one that will set the question. Yes. So you know what you are teaching them, you know what the questions you want to set. And it's even beyond the examinations or the test. So it has to do with process. And we also remember the principle of teaching, which is lesson, the content, the teaching must go from known to unknown. Known to unknown. So we must be conscious of the way we present information to our learners. And there's something we call nano learning. Maybe you want to say something? Mary, do you want to say something? There's something we call nano learning. Nano learning means breaking your content to bits and pieces. See, this generation, these Gen Zs and the rest, see, they're not ready for your long hours talk. They're not ready at all. They're not ready. You have to convince them that they should be in your class and they should even pay attention. So you have to be ready to bring in things that will engage them. They want to make sure that they make the best use of their time. Let me put their time managers. So you have to really be ready for them. So in the space of 40 minutes that you have, what can I achieve? How will I achieve this thing? It's not compulsory I bring everything here. And that takes us to all this note taking also, writing notes and all. Teaching and learning is not just about writing notes. It's not just about copying notes. If you're able to establish your learners' understanding about a particular concept, they will even form notes on their own. They can. But so for those of us that are teaching English language, especially the composition aspect, come and ask us. I've had times that you want to teach a particular concept and this is new to the learners. How do you achieve this in 40 minutes? How do you achieve this in 40 minutes? And we have 2 periods, so most of the time we have that the periods be merged together so that we are able to achieve much during that double period. However, it's still not enough. Time will never be enough, but your ability to manage and to know what to bring into place will help you to get the best out of it. Now, what we do sometimes is we assign different, for instance, you want to write a story. In the composition class, you want to write a story. We engage group work. You as a group come together. Let someone bring the beginning of a story. What is the title of the story, or what do you want to write on? Is it about a lion, a missing lion, or something? Whatever you want to write on, this is the title. So now, all of you have 5 to 10 minutes to think. What will the content of the story be? What happened first? What comes after? What comes after? So that way, each person has his or her own role or his or her own part to form, to create, part of the story to create. At the end of the day, they now submit everything that they've all created and they make it one story. So that way you are managing time and you are helping them to also learn. You're sequencing their learning. You know the learner that is good in this aspect, you know the one that is not too good in this aspect. So you are helping them to work based on their strengths. So for mathematics now, you have you want to teach addition. Of course, you don't put a lot of things together that you now get your learners confused. Establish the basic knowledge before you take them to the next one. You can, for the basic knowledge, you can just use whatever you want to use. Maybe it could be a video that you want to use for the first 10 minutes. For the next part, another type of another process of adding or something, or multiplying or something, you can use a worksheet to establish that, or a textbook. For the next part, you can use role playing, you can use demonstration. That way you are sequencing your learning into different parts, and you are helping learners to know that we did this at this point, at the other time we used this, at the other time we used this. Let me use someone that is taking social studies, for example, or any other subject that has to do with that, involves types, advantage, disadvantage, and all that. So you can use video to explain the meaning. You can use storytelling to explain uses. You can use role playing or group work to establish the knowledge of the types. The advantage and disadvantage, you can use another thing. So you're sequencing your lesson. They know that it's a process from one to the other, from this to the other. That way you help them to make meaning from the whole lesson. They're able to gather information from everything that you have presented to them. They're able to derive meaning that, oh, okay, this and this and this are what this is. So you don't get them confused, and they don't have too much information to process at the same time. If you need to break the lesson into 2 periods, I know the time is not enough, I understand. If you need to do whatever extra or something, if you need to give them worksheets home or something, please learn to sequence your lessons so that your learners don't have too much to deal with at the same time. Then the 5th one is formative assessment. Formative assessment is the opposite of summative assessment. I know some of us will be familiar with this as well. And the way formative assessment works is unlike summative assessment that you're waiting till the end of the class, or the end of the session or the term to determine whether learning has occurred. Some formative assessment is determining lesson effectiveness immediately during the lesson. So as you're teaching, you are taking note of what your learners are getting and what they're not getting well. And that takes us to that first one that I said, clear objectives. By the time you finish, maybe you're presenting a video to them on a particular let's say types of family. Let's talk about family. We want to, at the end of the lesson, can we still hear me? You should be able to explain family. You should be able to role play each aspect of family, or whatever, what constitute a family. You should be able to role play what constitute a family. And the third one is learners should be able to explain two roles or responsibilities of each member of a family. So by the time you're presenting a video on the meaning of a family, you already have at the back of your mind what strategy or what formative assessment tools you are going to access that knowledge to validate that they are already able to understand that definition or explain the meaning of family. So you can decide you want to use worksheet, you want to use question and answer, you want to use a quiz, you want to use group work, you want to use project or whatever. For the second aspect of the lesson, which is what constitutes a family, whether a nuclear family or what other family now, extended family. So maybe you want to give a content from the textbook that you're using. So you're using your textbook. They can read from the textbook or from the PowerPoint you're displaying to them what constitutes a family, whether a nuclear whatever. Sorry, a nuclear family or extended family. So you're helping them to actually get meaning from what you are presenting to them, and you're accessing it, their understanding immediately. You're accessing their knowledge immediately. So you can give them, maybe there are questions in the textbook about the types of family or what constitutes a family. So you're accessing it. You're not waiting till when you want to give them assignment or when you want to give them CA test. So you are demanding them to reproduce the knowledge or to bring out meaning from the resources or from the information that you are giving to them. That way, it helps to also enhance their understanding. And the third objective, maybe you're giving them worksheet, you're giving them a quiz, that a lot of quiz that you can give to them. You can use Kahoot, you can decide to let them play around, use Canva, whatever. Just because you want to access their knowledge and you want to ensure that they're able to derive meaning from what they have around them. It could be a project, it could be an assignment to their family, a project based, go to your family and write the names of every member of your family and observe what they do, and write out what each person's role is and responsibilities. So that way you're helping them to strengthen their understanding and their knowledge of what you're presenting to them. I will take a pause now and allow us to react to that. Formative assessment. How many of us have used formative assessment, and what are the things? How do you use it in your class? You can react. Sorry, you can unmute yourself to talk, and you can put something in the chat box. Formative assessment. You'll find it easy to use in the class, and Do you find it useful? Who is talking? Who is chatting?
Hello,
Okay.
can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so for formative assessment, just as you've said, we can make use of various means to actually assess teaching and learning to be able to be certain that the learners really understand what they've been taught. So for me, basically, yeah, it could either be worksheets, just what's happening? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so it could either be the use of worksheets, or I use tools like I use quizzes. I use there's this thing called jeopardylab.com. I don't know if you've heard about it before. I make use of
Okay.
that. So that one gives me the opportunity to pair the children into teams. So we could
Okay.
have team 1, team 2, team 3 in class, and each of the teams will have to answer the questions and give the correct answers to the questions. And sometimes it could be in form of a project, and sometimes I also do research.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, I
Okay.
give them a
Thank you.
research task.
So do you find it easy to use, challenging, or
Well, it's actually not I find it easy most times if we have to do it in the classroom. I think the challenge I usually have is when I now have to turn it to a home task.
okay?
Probably they have to take it home. That is where most times some of these parents are not so supportive, and they don't want to release, especially when it comes to a task that they will need internet services for. Or you'll hear, don't touch my phone, don't touch my laptop, don't do this, I don't know it. I paid the week. Like parents say, they say things like, I have paid the school fees in school already. Their job in the school to teach you, stuff like that. But if it is what I want to do in class myself, of course, I find it very easy. I enjoy it. It's always fun. And they won't even want to live there. They want us to sleep there. And I'll have to remind them that, hey, this is not the
Like,
only
wait,
subject we have for
subject that you
today. We
have
have
here.
other things that we want to do. So that's it, basically.
I thank you, Zola, for that.
Yeah.
One more person before we go ahead. Who else wants to say something? I've used formative assessment and I found it. What are the things? How do you use it? How do you engage your learners with formative assessment? Who else wants to say something? Mary, let me call you out
Hi.
now.
Yeah. Yeah. Hi. I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on with my schedule right now. Like I'm in a two webinar and I don't know what happened here. Like this is a problem with having different time zones. So it's like I'm
Oh,
also
sorry.
trying to explain to the other webinar I'm attending. Yeah, but
But
yeah, I'm with you actually. Yeah.
oh, sorry. But
Yeah.
at what point?
Yeah.
At what point did you get lost?
Hello. Yeah.
Did you hear the explanation on formative assessment? Hello? Hello, Mary.
Hello. Yeah. Hello. Yeah. Yeah. I heard the last one. Yeah.
Okay, so, okay. Do you use
Mhm.
formative assessment?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. We do, and we are really prepared to use that tool is actually for, like the name itself suggests, formative assessment is for us to be able to identify which part the student get. Like, if there has to be like you have to reteach or like you have to explain something again. Like, it's like a form of diagnostic.
Yeah, it's a diagnostic. Yeah, that's I like that word. And it's not just about the learners, it's also about you. You're diagnosing your resources, you're diagnosing your content, the effectiveness of your method, and the strategies that you have put in place.
Yeah.
Remember that you have
Mhm.
different learners in the class. You have the ones that learn by auditory means. You have the ones that they're interested in what they can see. You have the ones that are interested in what they can engage with their hands. They want to mold things and all. So how well did I put those people into consideration? Did I use resources that represent each of those type of learners? Because if 10 learners in your class, you can't tell me that all of them learn the same way. Mary, you want to say something?
Yeah, with regards to the formative assessment, also, for example, in the pencil and paper test type of test, like multiple choice, something like that, there are just some questions that, so like, for example, of course, in the classroom, you cannot say that all students are in the same level.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah, they're in the different levels. So what type of test are you going to prepare? Like, for example, in the language test, is it just
Yeah.
for the B1, or like there's a bit of everything in there? And so I got this. I asked that question actually previously, and then I got this kind of response wherein the teacher said, like, of course, you can put different types of or different levels of question, and then you can also tell the students to skip if they find it difficult, so that you will know that they did not get it and that it's not their level. It's also
Yeah.
like form of assessment. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. 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 That's a good one, because the essence is if the essence is that they know. They did not know. That's why they are here, so that they can know. So if at the end of the day they still don't know, that means there's something we are not doing right on our part, or there's something we are not putting in place, or there's something also on their part that is impeding the possibility of understanding or of knowing. So we're diagnosing what is the likely cause or the reason for this situation. So when we are trying to assess, now formative assessment is not just about you trying to see whether your learners are intelligent or not. It's about you also as a teacher. It's about, am I also being sensitive? Am I also creative in my choice of resources? Am I also being creative in my approach, in my method, in the strategies that I'm using? So it's two-way things. You're accessing your learners, you're accessing yourself. And that's where the reflection comes in as a teacher. So you are reflecting on what you're using. So you know if you need to quickly change from using worksheets to using a video. You look at the percentage of the learners in the class that are been able to get this. If out of 10 learners, only 2 learners are able to get what you're saying, then you're not using the appropriate resource or resources. So you need to do something. You need to act so that you change. It could be next class, you put that into consideration and also that is what formative assessment basically helps to do. So at the end of the term, when you need to assess them summatively, you know you already have a pre notion of what is likely to happen, or information about the performance. You know what you are pre-informed ahead of time what you should expect in their work and all. So using formative assessment is very, very important. And sometimes you might have to present some resources over and over to establish knowledge. Sometimes you might have um, to use varieties of resources to establish a particular understanding. It could still be on the meaning of a particular term, a particular concept. You use a video, as you're using a video, you're using a role play, you're using different things just to ensure that they're able to get it at the end of the day. So formative assessment gives room for reflection on your part and on the part of the learners also, because they are also aware of their performance. They see that, oh, I didn't get this right. My teacher said at the beginning of the lesson that I should be able to explain so. I've been able to explain, but I've not been able to identify this in a text. So I don't have the pass mark. What can I do? Maybe I need to go back to the lesson content. Maybe I need to go back to the video. Ma, please, can you please show us the video again? There are times that my learners will ask that I show them the video again, or I put up the PowerPoint again so that they look at it again and see what it is. And formative assessment also does not mean that you just leave the learners, you give them work and you leave them. You're giving support, consistent support to them. So if you have assigned them into group, you've given them a group work, you're also giving them consistent support. You're checking up on them. Where are you? What have you done? What have you not been able to do? How do you want me to come in? Okay, why don't you try this and this? So you're facilitating their lesson. You are also assisting them to get the result that they need to get. Our time is really, really far spent. I didn't know. Apologies. It consolidates the material. Yes. Cognitive ability. Yes. All right. So I think this should be the second to the last something. So what are the activities that we can use in our classroom? We can use think, pair, share. We can use questioning. We can use presentation. Think, pair, share is you have a task that you want to give to the learners, and you present the task to them. You allow them to derive meaning from individually. Share, then you pair them with a partner, like I said earlier on. You pair them with a partner, and then you ask them to exchange their answers to the question that you have presented. Look at it. Did I get it right? Did I get it wrong? And then they have they come to share either in a group or to the whole class. We have questioning. What do you think this is? Why? Open-ended question, not the question of yes or no, yes or no. Open-ended question. If that man had gone, what do you think could have happened? Why should that man stay in the house? Why should we use this chemical and this chemical? What do you think would happen if we bring these two chemicals together? Do you think we can still get answer if we do this, if we work out this problem this way? Do you think we can still get the same answer? This open-ended question that can challenge them to think and to want to act. We can have presentation. You call learners to come and present. You're helping them to build their communication skills and the presentation skills at the same time. You can have demonstration. You can demonstrate things in the class as you're demonstrating where they need to record. Oh, remember Mr. Tosi did this. He also put this into that. And then, okay, I think I can do it now. Yes. Student teaching, you can have them, you can tell them ahead of time. This is a topic for next week. I want you all to prepare and read ahead of time. Or you can say, Penny, you will be in charge of the next lesson. So please read this ahead of time. This can be useful for the older learners. So you can use it from, I think from prep something, you can use it to them. So you can say read ahead of time. You're teaching us next week, and you'll be surprised that those learners will actually prepare and they will come and teach well. Learners learn well when they hear from their colleagues, when they hear their colleagues saying something or sharing knowledge. They also tend to learn well. You can use peer learning too, where you attach a weak learner to a stronger one that can assist in learning. Then you can use worksheets. You can use, there are different, we will explore the other digital tools or whatever that later in the course of the session of the training, sorry. So for now, application. So I will drop this PowerPoint on the group. That will be our task for the week. So you're going to consider all the strategies that we have discussed, and then you apply it in your class, and you give a summary of your application, what worked, what did not work, and what do you think you really need to work at. Which of those do you think, oh, you are good at already, you want to work at, you need assistance or something like that. So that will be our work for the week. Thank you so much. I'll take question and answer now as we run up. We have many minutes. This is 3:37. All right, so question and answer. You can unmute yourself for contribution. You can unmute yourself. You can put chat box, whatever you think is not so clear or. Who is talking? Who is talking? Nobody is talking. Nobody is putting anything in the chat box. We still together. We still together.
Yes, we're still together.
Right. So question, answer, contribution, verifications. Before we call it a day. Should I assume there is no question because nobody is talking? Kenny, you unmute yourself. Anything?
Yeah, hi.
Hello. Yeah, Mary, I can hear you.
Yep, actually no, I don't have any questions. It's that I just of course first I want to thank you, okay, for this time. And okay, so as for me, I am just really trying to um cover up everything. Like, I'm trying to think about, like, because we've been dealing with, a lot of strategies. We're using a lot of strategies and methods and techniques inside the classroom, but of course, um I think one of the biggest challenges for me is that the students, because we have this kind of system here, especially in the public school setting, where students are, we find it difficult to fail a student at the end of the school year. Like, there's something like we call mass promotion. And so the students are actually aware of that. And so whatever we do, okay, so I'm in based on experience, there are really some learners who are, because they think that they will really pass, at the end of the school year, so they wouldn't really put any effort, even if it's, I don't know, it's just really something really that's really frustrates me.
I used to feel like that too. The first time I got to know about this was when I went to something we call National Youth Service, or yeah, Nigeria. So it's a year program, and when I got to the school where I served, the school principal told me we don't fail here. Like, our learners don't fail here. And hearing that, I was surprised. And you need to see the students; they were not challenged, they were not ready to learn, and they were just doing whatever they liked. But what I would say is that at the end of the day, whatever you've done or whatever you do as a teacher stays. So at a point I didn't get myself bothered about whether they fail, they are where they will fail, or they are not failing, or whatever. I just do my thing. Just put my best into it. I organized extra classes for them. Those that would come, they were around. Those that wouldn't, they didn't come, fine. But that short time, they knew that there was a court member in their school that was always looking forward to making a difference, that was always looking forward to helping the learners to get better. So this life, I've come to realize that at the end of the day, sometimes it's not even about the results, the quick results that you want to achieve, but the impact that you want to leave. So for those that are not interested, try your best to make sure that you help them to be interested. However, you can't do beyond what you can do. You can always put in your best. You may not know it, but some of them will actually be affected by whatever you will do, and they will change. They might not change now, it might be later, but yet they will remember that Mary helped them. Mary tried her best. That is it. Mary tried her best to ensure that they learn. They were not serious, but now they're regretting. So forget about the system. There was a time I used to be bothered about the system too, but now I've realized, see, the system may not get better, but I can get better at it. The system may not work, but I can make things work at my own end for as many that come in contact with me. So I think that will change a lot of things, and that will help you to achieve whatever you need to achieve. And you may never can tell those little ones that are paying attention, you may never can tell what the impact will be like. I put up a post on my LinkedIn, I think LinkedIn page sometimes ago, that sometimes it's not about getting the multitude. Sometimes it's about getting the few. And those few ones too can affect the multitude that are not ready to do anything. Because at the end of the day, they realize, oh, that girl was always punctual in class. That girl was always contributing. That girl was always paying attention in class. So it's not about getting the majority to do the right thing. It's about starting with one and then multiplying it until it affects every other person. So please don't be bothered. Don't get discouraged. Mary.
Oh, I love that. That's really inspiring. And I hope I can, yeah, I'm gonna get used to it, and maybe I can also apply that to my coworkers because I'm
Yeah.
about to file, I'm about to leave this system.
Wow. Wow.
Really.
Wow. Please just keep at it. Just keep at it.
We'll see. We'll see.
We have you guys don't have any problem. Just come to Nigeria. My Nigerian people, I say am I speaking your
This is
mind?
the first time that I've experienced that, kind of like depression for 2 years. I didn't even know what depression is until I experienced it right after the pandemic. I didn't know. I mean, maybe I'm really taking things seriously now than how I used to deal with it before.
Don't worry, unmute yourself and say something. Are we together? Toasting, I can see your hand. Unmute yourself.
Okay, yes, we are. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm
said,
sorry,
answer my question first. I told Mary that they don't
Okay.
have problem in Philippines. She's in Philippines and she's bothered about the education system. I said they don't have problems. She just needs to come to Nigeria and come and see. Am I?
Yeah,
I
you're right.
will. I will.
You're right. Because in Nigeria it's not friendly at all. There's a lot of discouragement
We are
everywhere.
just funny people. We are
Yeah,
comedians.
it's true, you're right.
Okay,
Right.
so you can go ahead.
I just wanted to add to what I heard you say not quite long. You said something about the system is not encouraging, but we can get better at it. And I also want to share my experience, especially in this teaching world. I have found myself in places where you see school owners, you see parents looking at teachers as a magician.
Yeah.
They always want you to perform magic on their children. My child must pass mathematics. He must do this. When the child fails, they are too quick to say that it is the teachers. that did not teach well, not knowing that so many of them have foundational problems. So many, their mathematics teachers, even in their previous schools, had not done justice to a lot of things. And so when they are transferred to a new set of teachers, especially mathematics teachers, the teacher tend to do more work than is expected. And so when I heard you say that the system is not encouraging, you even see school owners telling you, my children must not fail. And you as a teacher, you feel like, would you now begin to doctor marks for students? Like you had done everything necessary, you had put on all mechanisms to make sure that these children, as a teacher, you have done your best. And then, but so you just realize that some students, like you said, when you were posted for NYC, a lot of them are nonchalant. When you call for meetings or teachings, some of them don't even respond positively. Some, it's their parents that will be indulging them. And you feel like in the end, when they fail, the parents will still come back and blame teachers. So it's very funny in Nigeria, really funny and not friendly at all. But then, like you said, just the very few that key into it, we as teachers will get better. We may not get an immediate positive effect on them now. Like I want to share a testimony. 2 days ago, a student of mine whom I taught for 6 years chatted me up, and then she was telling me she's now in UK. I was like, oh, that's good. Okay, I said, fine. What are you doing in UK? She said she's teaching. I said, really? She said, okay, what subject are you teaching? She said she's teaching mathematics. I was like, really? Mathematics? And so she reached out to me because she realized that many of the things, although their curriculum is not that complex as that of Nigeria, but even many of the things she has been asked to teach, she had forgotten a larger part of the foundation of it. Because when she was in KWASU, she studied at KWASU, she did not even study mathematics. And she did something very different. So she was reaching out to me to, please, can I remind her of some of those things? And then when I was teaching them in school, this is a lady that she's not always very, very serious in class. She's a fashionista person. She just goes around doing things on her own. Her parents are well to be. And so maybe she feels that, okay, anything goes. I think my parent has money. Now, so when you said that we may not get the effect now, I want to agree with you. Many of them may not understand what we do for them as teachers now, but by the time they grow up, they begin to see reasons. I wish I had paid attention in class. I wish I had listened to my teachers. I wish I had attended these classes that my teachers arranged. But it's playing out now. So I just want to buttress what you said, and that's why I said I wanted to speak. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay. I'm not sure any other person has a question or a contribution to give. If you have 1 minute to do that, please, you can quickly unmute yourself. Let me give the last chance. You can unmute yourself and say something. If not, we'll come to the end of this session for today. And before we go, if you don't have any question, please can you put in the chat box? You can also unmute yourself. At least 3 things that stay with you from this session today. If you think it's worth your time, you really feel you are not disappointed in any way that you're here, you think it has been helpful, you can put it in the chat box. Yes. Or unmute yourself. Has it really been been helpful? Did you get anything from the session? Do you think it's necessary? Is necessary or something? Waiting for responses.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, so I think I'm going first. So for me, today's session has deepened my knowledge and as well my passion. And okay, I think from the beginning when you were talking about active learning and all, one of the things that struck me was when you said that students like that's our learners, they're supposed to be active learners and not passive learners. Everything we are doing should be centered around them and not we standing in front of the class and, becoming a journalist, or should I say a newscaster, and start mumbling up everything for them. You understand? The fact that they need to think, they need to be able to relate whatever they're learning to the environment. That, as you were saying, that it's not like I don't do some of these things before, but it gave me, I think I was getting another fresh idea on some of the things I need to do in the classroom as well. I was telling myself that, this is where, for you to introduce a topic, I think we were talking about having to teach addition in math, and you were saying something like, before you just go into what you want to do, you need to understand their basic knowledge and all. So I was trying to think of this thing that we call previous knowledge or background knowledge. Most times, most teachers don't pay attention to that previous knowledge or background knowledge of a particular topic. So I was thinking about it, and I'm like, I think I need to focus more on this background knowledge, or what we call previous knowledge, when I want to introduce a topic. And yes, when I want to introduce a topic. And the strategies that you listed along the line, yes, I'm familiar with some of them, but it's just a call to action again for me. Like, sometimes you can get tired, you can it can be overwhelming, especially when you're working with the elementary classes. You have to take all the subjects. If it's in a secondary school where you're a subject teacher, it's quite flexible. You understand? But you tend to ask yourself, I have to take math, I have to take English, and under English you have the creative writing, you have the phonics, you have history, you have geography. You're like, how do you want to achieve this? You on all, you understand? So, well, we just have to do what we have to do. Like when you were telling Mary that she should come and see the way it is in Nigeria, and she will understand that.
Mary,
teachers in
Nigeria, so don't worry.
Teachers in Nigeria, they are blessed because it's not easy, seriously. So that's just it. It's just serving as a wake-up call for me again. Like, we're rounding up this term and preparing for another term by January. So thank you very much. That was it for me.
That's good to know. Thank you so much.
Then sorry, I was going through the chat. I think somebody was asking a question as regards a tool. I don't know, maybe it was the one I mentioned.
Yes, the one you mentioned, I think.
Okay, I knew I mentioned quizzes. I mentioned jeopardylab.com. Yes, jeopardylab.com.
You can put it on the WhatsApp.
Oh, on the WhatsApp group. Okay.
All right. On the WhatsApp.
Are you sure I'm on the WhatsApp group? I doubt if I'm there.
Oh yeah, that's true. Malola told me that you is your phone back now?
Yeah. No, but you can just add my number. I think I filled my number on the Google form that was sent.
But she told me that you don't have access to WhatsApp or something. That's what she told me.
Yeah, but I can just, so what I do is, if I have to respond to important messages, I use my laptop.
Okay.
Yes.
I'll do that then. After that.
Yes.
All right. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Exactly.
Thank you for that. Yes, we can get the slide. Yes, we can get the slide, and when the recordings ready, I would forward to everybody. So, do we have any other question or contribution? I want to hear from Adegoke. Adegoke, can you unmute yourself and say something? And Odewale, if you don't mind. I'm not sure. I've not heard your voice today. I want to hear your voice. I've heard Tosin's voice. I've heard Sonny's voice. I've not heard Adegoke. I've not heard Odewale. All right, so please unmute yourself and say something, please. We together? Who is coming first? Adegoke and Odewale, you're keeping us waiting. Okay, it seems they are not here. All right. So that will be the end of this lesson. Mary. Okay, I think I said
Yes.
everybody should put, yeah. So I said everybody should put at least 2 or 3 things that you were able to get from today's session. And you
Okay.
can unmute yourself to say yes.
Mhm. Yeah, actually the thing that's really um of course I enjoyed this session. This is like another kind of like different level because actually this is the first time that I um was able to to be part of this. I don't know if you guys are all from the same country, but I really find this is so really interactive, and so I really enjoyed this today's session. And everything that we've actually talked about, or some, we really incorporate that into our teaching. Um,
Okay.
so, but I just like this, the positive side of what you've said in the last part. Not because it's the last one that I recall, but
Okay.
there's something here I'm trying to hold on to because
Okay.
there's a lot of
That's good to know.
challenges
All
being
right. That's good to know. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Remember your tasks for the week. You're applying these strategies to your classroom and you're coming back to, you're putting it into writing, into writing to submit on between Wednesday and Friday, probably. So, what worked, what did not work, what you think you need to focus more, any result and all. Thank you so much for joining. Do enjoy the rest of your day. Bye for now.